I guess I better get my thing up and running.
That's what she said.
Hello, my friends.
Thank you for joining us for the PEBCAK Podcast, a weekly information security show featuring some all-around good people. It is week 28 of 2022. I'm Chris Louie, and thankful no one lost a finger, toe, or an ear during our axe-throwing team bonding event. Happy 7-Eleven Day. If you're near a 7-Eleven convenience store, pop in today and get a free small Slurpee. With me, I have someone who just binged on an extra-large cherry Coke Slurpee last night, Uncle Barbecue.
You're a liar, but speaking of fireworks in Arizona are like technically illegal, like at least the airborne ones. So you can buy all the fountain ones you want, but the ones that shoot into the air, you can't have them. But apparently my neighborhood doesn't understand that or even care, because it was like World War III. We went outside with the family baby. That's a longer story, but to go, we're gonna go drive somewhere to go look at it, and we go into the front yard. We're like, well, we don't need to go anywhere. Just like in any direction, it was this like booming, like not like just crazy. It was amazing. It's probably the best fireworks show that I've ever been to. That was not, carefully orchestrated by people that actually know what the hell they're doing.
And then on that note,
on that note, there was a couple suspect ones that were just like kind of flying around. And later on that night, my friend, his wife had posted at like 3:20 in the morning, someone shot off a firework, but it made a beeline right for their house, and it went through the wall.
Oh,
and
man.
Into their child's room. And so they had to go in there, and luckily everyone was okay, put the fire out, but they had to take his son in to see if there was any audio issues with them, like being able to hear. So he can still hear, thank God, but it's not perfect though. Is the downer of the story.
Is that like
that's unfortunate.
Pyrotechnic gone wrong, or someone brought home a javelin missile and misfired?
Yeah, probably the latter for sure. I have no idea, but yeah, it was just wild to see the pictures of I didn't you see these fireworks, but to be able to go through someone's home, through the stucco and through the drywall and then detonate right over a baby's crib is insane.
Well, the was it the video that Chris sent where they were lighting fireworks in the front yard and it landed underneath a car or misfired underneath the car and it made the car explode? I thought that was hilarious. Was that you that sent that, Chris?
It's always Chris.
Yeah. I don't remember if that one was me. I sent a bunch of guys a bunch of fireworks videos, and they're all fail videos, of course.
Yeah. But the good one was the porch pirate. The porch pirate was amazing. Fireworks.
Anytime there's a video from Chris or a flaccid penis, it's always from Chris, guaranteed.
And speaking of flaccid, we have the great Glenn Medina, who has been taunting us all week by sending pictures of him drinking and napping by his pool every day.
Hey everyone, happy to be home this week. It's been a great week for weather and being outside, which is why I've been by the pool. I've been lucky enough that, I think you guys heard last year I was in the process of getting the pool done, and that's been great. That was completed and been able to enjoy the backyard now. Typical weather this time of year is 100, not for Chris, but it is for me. Super dry heat and smoke from all the fires in the surrounding area. And luckily we've been graced so far to not have any of that stuff. And it's been like high 80s, low 90s, and really nice. No smoke in the backyard.
So there's more fires around you again this year?
No.
There's not.
There's not. Guys, what I'm saying is typically there are, and right now there isn't. It's been awesome. The only smoke that's coming from anywhere is my barbecue pit, which I've been grilling I've been grilling like crazy. So great time.
There are some fires out where Paul lives. He was sending us pictures of where he lives. It's pretty crazy out where he's at. He's a little bit east of you.
Yeah. He's not a little bit. He's a lot east of me.
Yeah, so there are still some fires up here in Northern California, just not near Glenn this time around.
I like to say
he lives out by Western Arizona.
Yeah, he's equidistant to us, Mr. Human VPN. So
all right, sounds fair. Combined, we have decades of information security experience and are here not just to educate, but to entertain. We've got 4 awesome stories for you this week, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Closing the loop this week on a previous episode when we were talking about our careers and Glenn came up with the idea that we should write a book about SE life, salary negotiations, basically everything we would have wanted to know before becoming an SE or a sales engineer. I recently interviewed someone, and that person listened to the podcast to study up on me, so big shout out to you for doing that. You know who you are. But that person also encouraged me to follow through with that goal of writing the SE Handbook. I discussed it with my other co-hosts, and we are all in agreement that we will write this book about SE life. Since we all still have our day job, it's going to take some time for the first edition to become available, but just so you know, we will be working on and releasing the PEBCAK Guide to SE Life. If you want to contribute or help us with editing or publishing, let us know, and we would greatly appreciate it.
I came up with the topic and the title. I think my contribution is done, right? So,
yeah, you're off the hook, Glenn. Just Chris, MLA format, and you got to cite your references, please.
Or I thought we were going to do APA format.
What is the standard? Does it even matter?
I used APA in college.
We'll probably just throw it together and let Grammarly do the rest.
I think so. Yeah, edited by Grammarly. We're gonna have to give them a shout out in the forward of the book.
There you
go. We'll just do a 1 month premium subscription for $12. Do you actually have the premium one or no?
I stopped subscribing to premium after I stopped blogging, and we switched to the podcast. But I used it extensively when I was blogging.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why you write so eloquently in your blogs. It's Grammarly.
In the blog. Not so much in the show notes, but in the blog, yeah.
There you go.
Brain. That's how I ended up with brain in the show notes.
It's because my giant head. So I get it.
What about you guys? Do you guys still have used Grammarly Premium?
I use just whatever comes. I think it's just the normal Grammarly. But I should. But
so I use the free one as well. Yeah. But I was thinking as we started to go down this journey of writing, I understand like Grammarly's going to help us out, but I think our writing styles are going to be such a contrast. I don't think anyone's going to fix that, or at least maybe for you two, right? Like it will look pretty good, and then like everyone else is like, yeah,
because we're Asian, it's going to be comparable for us too.
I didn't want to call it out, but I am Asian as well, so
honorary Asian.
Yeah. But I do think that there's going to be a stark difference, and I think people will be able to pick it up. Be like, man, this chapter was really hostile. Deitch must have wrote that.
It's talking about guns in America.
Always bring your rifle to salary negotiations.
Yes.
We'll do it. We'll edit it enough so that hopefully it's not that stark, but at least we'll get the content in.
I'm just going to have a bunch of like hidden puns in there. You guys won't even know it.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty excited about this. I've been asking you guys to do this since last year, and I'm glad whoever it was that interviewed really piqued your interest on this topic, Chris.
Did. Yeah.
This is the first time I'm hearing about this. I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
We talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah. Should I go back and find out what episode that was in? I know it was early.
You might have to. I think you're just both lying to me, trying to make me do extra work.
All right. Well, one of our podcast historians will have to send Brian that episode number.
There you go. We'll close the loop on that, Chris.
Yep, next week. All right. For our opening topic, we'd like to talk about Prime Day. So here in America, Amazon Prime Day is the time of year when you can buy an extremely cheap Amazon Kindle or Alexa device and some other things that might be slightly cheaper. Are you guys on the lookout for anything on Prime Day this year? Last year, I got my green screen, which I use quite a bit now with OBS, so I might keep an eye out for some other home automation stuff. How about you guys?
So I actually have a kind of a list that's going on. So I think I told you guys I am going to build a gaming PC with my kids, so I'll probably pick up some parts there. I do want a newer backpack. Travis Shepard came to RSA. He's one of our coworkers. He had this really cool backpack that he had his drone in there and was flopping around, but didn't get broken and, podcasting stuff. So I thought, I want to get a backpack like that. And I will be starting up a different YouTube channel with some good quality content. So I'm going to be looking for a newer video camera there. And the last one, on purpose, because I saw that Chris is going to be looking at home automation, I'm ready to make the jump. I have Wink today. I've had it for the last 5 or 6 years. if you go out to their status page, it's been down since July 1st. So all home automation is broken in the Deach household, and I am pissed and ready to change.
I got a Nikon
Smart
camera
things.
for you, Deach.
Okay. It
Slightly better than the iPhone camera.
It'll be grainy AF. Yeah. It's gonna look like one of those hostage videos from the Taliban up on my life order.
No way. Rude.
You already have a
I'm gonna go
nice
with this-
Canon. Yeah, like how much nicer can you get than the Canon you have?
Well, I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm thinking I might actually, instead of doing the HDMI out and then capturing it on the computer, I might just start recording locally to like an SD card and then importing it and then tagging up the audio and the video together. It sounds like a giant cluster F, if you ask me, and I'm sure it's gonna be terrible. But
do you think
I'll try it.
Do you think the quality would be way better that way?
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Why don't you
Looking
just
at,
record the audio on the camera? Like get a good a shotgun mic.
Because there is a piece of giant glass in between the camera and myself that
It's called an extension cord.
about 10 feet away.
Oh, then you can use a wireless mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might
I
be
don't know, we'll
doing
see.
those reality shows.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we don't have to solution this now, but okay.
Wireless mic. All right, I'll look into it, guys.
I've never heard anyone say Deach wasn't loud enough. So, but yeah, I don't know why you need a mic, even with glass. I'm looking for first a pool sweep. So one of those plugins. They cost about $1,900. So it's. I'm trying to see if I can get it on sale. Let's see. Yeah, they're not cheap. What are some of the other things? I'd love to get one of those inflatable screens with a projector that goes with it to the backyard, because I've got my 55-inch TV outside, and it looks very dinky in the corner of the yard where no one can really see when you step away from it. But yeah, things like that, and I'd love to get a new mic like Chris here, because his audio sounds tremendous. I don't know if you guys can tell the difference, but I'm on one of these, what I thought was a great microphone, and then listening to Chris on his, was it the Shure? That is
the Shure.
Amazing how you sound. So,
Yeah. Maybe I'll do the same. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we pre-COVID, I think we had good mics, and then we upgraded the Yeti. It's a great mic, but the Shure is definitely world class.
Yeah. No doubt.
Is that what Howard Stern uses?
I'm not sure which one Howard Stern uses. They recorded Thriller on this mic, so I know it's at least good enough for Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
That's not a good bar to set. The song is great, but there was a surprise ending to that story that no one saw coming.
Was it the kids or the death itself?
Probably the kids, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
All right, for our first topic, our favorite hardware and software maker, Apple, is releasing a new feature for iPhones called Lockdown Mode. What is Lockdown Mode, you ask? Well, great question. It's a new service that you can enable on your iPhone that turns off services commonly abused by high-end spyware makers like the NSO Group. The feature is meant for journalists, political dissidents, and other high-profile targets for spying campaigns. I for sure am not a target of state-sponsored hacking campaigns, but I might just turn it on anyways to play with it. Apple says that once users enable lockdown mode, both iOS and macOS will be put into an extreme and super secure protection mode. Commonly used services and internal processes that are abused by these spyware makers will be blocked. These services include, number one, messages. So on the Messages app, you'll only be able to send and receive text and picture messages because some spyware is delivered through a zero-click exploit by sending a maliciously crafted PDF file. Web links will also no longer auto-preview and grab that content remotely. Number two, Safari. You'll still be able to browse most websites, but Apple will disable fancy services like the JIT engine, the just-in-time compiler, and WebGL, both commonly exploited features. Number three, USB connections. Apple will disable all USB data connections as soon as the phone is locked. So today there's a 30-minute timeout for USB access after a phone is locked, and it is to prevent someone from using like a gray lock type device to brute force the PIN code. Number four, configuration profiles. Lockdown mode blocks users from enrolling their mobile device into MDM, or mobile device management solutions. A recent technique is to socially engineer a user into unknowingly enrolling their phone into an MDM, giving the attacker full control over the device. Lastly, to prevent abuse of FaceTime and other services, lockdown mode will only allow people to contact you if you contact them first. That's to avoid things like that nasty FaceTime group chat bug that came out a while back that allowed anyone to remotely turn on the microphone of any other iPhone just by calling it and hanging up. So this is really good news. We've said it before, and we constantly praise Apple for its commitment to privacy and protecting its users, and further solidifies iPhone as the most secure smartphone to protect its customers from threats, even state-sponsored ones.
So are we all on the same page? Lockdown mode is now default mode for our phones?
Yeah, there's two sides of that, though, right? It's only going to lock down messages, iMessage. What if you use WhatsApp or Signal or some other platform? They're talking about just the ecosystem for Apple. They're not talking about being able to control things outside of that ecosystem.
How many of those exploits come through Signal, do we know? Or Telegram or something like that?
That's Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
He got hacked through WhatsApp.
Yeah, right. I mean, just like you can send like if they're going to disable links in iMessage, you're still going to be able to get links through other platforms, right?
Right. So Apple can only control what they control. So they don't control Signal, they don't control Telegram or WhatsApp or WeChat or any of those. So it's up to each individual user to not have bad behaviors through other apps that they can't control.
And the whole point of getting away from iMessage was the point that it wasn't encrypted. Anybody could access that data, right? Or could subpoena for that data. And that's why people went to WhatsApp or to Signal, was because that message wasn't viable as far as being able to access unless there was legal recourse for that. If I'm not mistaken.
I don't think that's true. So iMessage is end-to-end encrypted. Even group chats on iMessage are end-to-end encrypted. And you can only subpoena it if the iMessage is backed up to iCloud. So if you turn off iCloud, iMessage is actually still really secure. They just don't have the disappearing message feature.
But that's coming, right? In the new version
in iOS
of iOS
16. Yeah, I believe so.
I mean, what's the number one reason why you use Signal, Chris?
Well, disappearing messages.
All right, there you go. You could have just used Snapchat. Insane.
Yeah, well, you guys are. I don't know if how many of you guys are on Snapchat. I know Brian was on TikTok, and Glenn just got on Instagram.
Yet another application. Yeah.
You know who was like a total old fart when it came to technology? It was actually Todd Morton.
Yeah,
and that's one of our coworkers. Like he was like grandfather time, but like now, like he's like legitimately like so funny, and he responds so quickly. I feel like maybe it's the fact that he's dating now. I have no idea. That's made him break into 2022
other apps,
start to adopt technology. Yeah,
makes you think maybe he's swiping left, and that's what got him hit. Now he's swiping left.
You never know.
Maybe his Tinder matches says contact me on Signal because there's disappearing messages on there now.
Exactly.
You guys are hilarious. Todd, if you're listening, you got to join the next call. Defend yourself, Todd.
Yeah. Father time, you old fart. Is it still? Does anyone even say old fart anymore? Like
just you.
Boomer. It's
just
boomer. You. Yeah.
It's boomer.
The new term is boomer. Okay, boomer. Thanks, boomer.
Yeah. All right. That's so mid to say. Do you even know what that means?
Just going back to this these 5 things, right? This should be the default. I don't understand why this isn't the default for everyone, or it should have been the solution the whole time.
I've read some analysis of it, and on first impression, people feel the same way. Like everybody should do this unless there's a good reason not to. But other people have been saying this will be cool for about 3 days, and then it's going to get real old real fast, and you're going to want to turn it off.
Is it because it's just too locked down? The idea that you can't escape if you need to get something done?
Yeah, I'm not sure which feature people are going to miss the most. I think it might be you can't contact someone, or someone can't contact you unless you contact them first. Maybe that might be it, because in our line of work, we have unsolicited calls from customers and contacts. We might not have them in our contact list. And if they can't contact us, maybe that might be a problem.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny. The other one is item 2 there, Safari. You'll still be able to browse most, but Apple disable fancy services like JIT. Well, you know what? Chrome has been doing that for a while, right? And not only that, who really uses Safari? Like, I've recorded how many times where you open your Mac and what's the first thing you do? You download Chrome. So
yeah.
So what's your browser of choice on an iPhone then? I know it's Island, obviously, for you, Glenn, but
I like using Chrome. I like using Chrome, and I like using is it Firefox Focus, simply because it keeps my web surfing pretty secure without having to manually go into dark mode.
Yeah, or the world's best security proxy.
Yeah. How about you guys?
I'm a DuckDuckGo guy now, so I just use that browser. There's some compatibility issues every once in a while, but other than that, it's nice. There is a cool little button at the bottom. Like if you want to just close your tabs, you just hit the fire thing, and then just boom, everything's gone. Doesn't even exist. But it also kind of sucks because now I get calendar invites and I click it. I'm like, God, I gotta log back in again. But other than that, it's pretty cool.
It's the wife mode when she's looking over your shoulder. You hit the wife mode button, just burns everything.
Firefox Focus is the same. There's a little trash can at the top right. It's like burn it all. Yeah. And if I remember, can you open multiple tabs in DuckDuckGo? Because Firefox Focus won't let you do that.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
It even shows you at the bottom how many you have open. You're like, how the heck did I get to 16?
I use Brave. I like the Brave browser, privacy centric.
Is that for Mac OS or iOS?
Both.
Okay, both. Wow. All right.
First pet's name, mother's maiden name. You want all that info, Brian? All right, for our second topic, this will be our ransomware story of the week. LockBit is proud to announce version 3.0 of its ransomware. So Glenn, last week you said ransomware game is changing and we should all become sales engineers for the ransomware gangs. And well, now your dream can come true. The new and improved LockBit ransomware comes with its own bug bounty program, the first of its kind in the ransomware world. They're paying between $1,000 and up to $1 million, depending on the severity of the bug that you find in their ransomware. They're also offering bounties for clever feature requests that you can submit to them. And you can earn up to $1 million by doxing one of the leaders of a rival ransomware gang. So if you know who's running one of the rival gangs, dox them and you can earn up to $1 million. LockBit now supports payments in Bitcoin and the privacy coin Zcash and Monero. And the improvements to LockBit don't just stop with the software. Their data dump site is completely revamped with new features as well. Companies who have their data stolen and encrypted now have an option to pay to extend the deadline. So you could pay $10,000 for an extra 24 hours to come up with the funds or to negotiate a better ransom amount now. There are 2 auction options now. A company can pay the ransom to get their data back, so that's nothing new, and not have that data publicly released. Or anyone on the dark web can pay the requested amount and immediately get that data. So LockBit is pitting companies against people who would want to purchase the data. So think of like a Tesla. Like if Tesla had their source code stolen, somebody from a rival company can come in and outbid Tesla on it and then steal the data that way. Lastly, the auction to buy or destroy the data operates like a traditional auction where everyone can bid up the price, but there's also a reverse auction component to it where the price will come down over time. The thought is that at some point, if the price is right, a company will pay the ransom if no one else is going to bid on that data. So that may be a good sign that ransomware is not as profitable, and ransomware crews will sell for something instead of nothing.
Can you imagine, like, if Tesla did have something like that going on, and they weren't willing to pay for it, and so let's just call it Rivian, right? Rivian decides to go in, buy the IP, and on top of that, like they think they're good, but they're a publicly traded company, so they have in their earnings announcements, they're going over it line by line. Hey, what's this $1 million expense for newly acquired technology? Like, you can imagine how to have to explain
IP.
that. Yeah, they're like, it was worth it. Let me tell you, like it was amazing. Do you think any company would actually do that? Like, I don't think it would do it if they're U.S. based, especially not if they're public.
Not publicly. Maybe a startup. right?
Yeah, some backroom deal they might do.
Or some country that's out there that may want to copy or use the information for themselves. May pay for it. I don't know if they would do that. Maybe.
But have you guys ever looked at code? Like, I need the documentation with it as well. Like, you're just looking at this blob of tech. You're like, okay, I have no idea what this does. We spent $1 million for AC controls, guys. Good job. And there was no autopilot in here at all. That would be terrible.
Yeah, it's like, it was not just source code. It's like personnel records, legal documents, contracts. Like if you can get bid specs for something, that could give you a significant competitive advantage. So it doesn't just stop at IP. It can be also other really interesting stuff. Like I can imagine like a signals intelligence group like the CIA, they might want to buy movement data on targets of interest. Like they might throw in a bid if this data will help with national security. You know, who knows?
Dealing with the bad guys. All I do know is that as far as the bug bounty goes, I'm not that guy. My fuzzing days are over. What about you, Chris?
I'd rather be a bug bounty on the right side of the law, not helping the ransomware guys out.
Yeah, could you imagine doxing somebody and then they find out who you are? That's not going to be a good day.
They dox the doxer.
Yeah, that's not going to be a good day, Freddie. Yeah.
A lot of finger pointing going on right there. By the way, where do you guys think these illegal websites that are hosting the data are actually hosted at? My money's on GoDaddy. What about you?
Tor. So they're always on.
Tor does make a lot more sense. But where's that Tor server? Probably GoDaddy.
Could be. Yeah. You can hide it well enough.
I got it sitting somewhere in Microsoft OneDrive somewhere.
It's in Azure.
It's in Azure.
An Azure server.
That or an S3 bucket that no one really knows about. So, yeah.
It's most likely some kind of bulletproof hosting service in Russia, the Maldives, the Cayman Islands, someone that won't request, even if they get caught, they won't respond to a subpoena.
Have you guys ever thought about like this, someone you just freaking hate, just send a piece of, an email, text message or something, get that LockBit on there, just walk away laughing. Like, it only impacts them. It's just their one little computer at home, but just to inconvenience them, I think it would be worth it. I don't really want the money.
They check their personal email on their work device, and then now you've taken down, like, JBS Foods.
True. Maybe that's how it all happened.
Could be, yeah. Personal email is a gigantic threat vector for many organizations.
See, this is why I shouldn't hold grudges. This is going to get me in trouble.
Yeah, not to mention violating the CFAA and a dozen other laws.
Chris, you're not my real dad.
Just watching out.
You don't like those silver handcuffs. You should stay away from them.
Exactly.
That's true.
All right, for our third topic, oh man, I have been waiting to talk about this story for a while, but it never made the top 3 until now. I guess it was just a slow news week, and I bumped a couple of the other stories, like the largest data breach in history in China. That has nothing compared to the story we're about to talk about right now.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Look at Chris, so excited.
Oh, he is.
It's like he's getting ready to eat a steak or something. I don't even know. Go on.
Gotta see this.
So for those of you who don't know, there's an extremely popular video game called Counter-Strike, and you've probably had to been living under a rock to not know what Counter-Strike is. Yeah, so Glenn's pointing to himself. So yeah, he got unfrozen along with Captain America, and he also doesn't know what Counter-Strike is. So I used to play in high school and in college, and it's still really, really popular today and huge in the esports scene. And one of the ways the makers of Counter-Strike make money is through the Fortnite model. So the game is free, but if you want cosmetic upgrades, you need to pay for them. They offer you absolutely zero advantages in the game other than they look really cool and you get some bragging rights. The weapon skins change the look of your gun or your knife, and they're purchased through what are called loot boxes. So a loot box is an item you buy with your real-world hard-earned dollars, and it's like a pack of baseball cards. It's a chance that when you open this loot box, you can get a very rare card, or in this case, a very rare weapon skin, and some of these skins for the weapons sell for over $60,000 US. Well, wherever there's money to be made, you better believe there's a hacker trying to steal said money. Last month, a hacker hacked into the Steam gaming account of a player who owned more than, get this, $2 million worth of these Counter-Strike weapon skins They locked the owner out of the account, and about half of the skins were immediately sold. So the attacker netted about $1 million in profit, and the rest are just sitting in someone's Steam account. I don't know how Steam handles disputes like this, since where the skin is, it's obviously this is fraud and theft. But to me, it seems like they can just reverse the transaction. Like, it's not like these weapon skins are NFTs written on the blockchain. They're literally zeros and ones sitting on the server, and they should be able to move the items back. But for the people who bought the stolen skins, they may be out some coin, but the same would be true if they bought a stolen TV or a stereo system. So you're not losing pictures of bored primates to hackers, you're losing your Counter-Strike weapon skins.
So, I thought I was doing, really well in life. I can go buy groceries, fill up my truck, I pay off my credit card every single month, but I don't have $2 million worth of a singular video game. That is a crazy amount of money. So on that, and you said the Fortnite model, my question to you on Counter-Strike, is any of the rewards you get merit-based? Like when you level up, can you get certain skins and different things? Because my daughter plays it. I used to play it all the time with her. You didn't have to spend to get all the skins. You could level up and get rewards. Is that how it works there too, or not at all?
So you can get some skins by merit, but the really rare ones you can never get that way. You can only get them through loot boxes, and that's why they're so valuable. And some of these skins are given as first place in a Counter-Strike competition, so you can only win it that way, and that's why they're so rare. It's transferable. You can sell it if you want to, but that's the only way to get it, is through these loot boxes, or you win a tournament.
How much did I spend to get a skin that's worth $60,000?
Probably a lot. I don't know exactly how the random number generator works, but if it's worth $60K, then it's probably going to take more than that to buy it, just based on the numbers.
Shut the hell up. Really? Oh my God.
But typical skins...
We're in the wrong line of business, guys.
I know. What the heck? Here we are again, just examining where money is made and how money is made. It's what's going on here?
This is the original NFT. Well, is it? Are they completely unique or no?
They're not necessarily... they're unique, sort of. So this weapon skin, if I sell it to you, it transfers ownership from me to you. But there's nothing to prevent the makers of Counter-Strike from just minting 1,000 of these and crashing the price. And there's no public record like there is for an NFT, where you can look at the blockchain and clearly see who owns it. And the whole point of an NFT is it's non-fungible. So that's the only one, and that's unique. But
hold on, a skin is just that, right? It's a color, it's a pattern, it's something. Not only that, if Counter-Strike is the only one that controls that, they should be able to see where this tracks to and who's using that skin, right? It's a color scheme, it's a pigment matter, it's a pattern. Yeah, it's just zeros and ones. So that's why I don't get what's going on here, because from my point of view, the makers of Counter-Strike can just reverse it, since this is obvious fraud. But I haven't seen any follow-up if that's what they actually did. But the owner's still quite upset that he's out, $2 million worth of skins at this point.
And also, how would you know you're buying illegal skins? I think these people should be allowed to keep them.
Yeah, that's another argument to be made. That it's similar on eBay. If I buy a computer or a laptop off eBay, and then 2 months later the police said, "Oh, you bought a stolen laptop," well, how was I supposed to know? So it's sort of buyer beware, I guess.
Yeah, but we still don't know how the hacker got into the actual Steam account, right? Did he get phished? Did he password reuse?
I believe it was
1, 2, 3.
phishing.
You're an idiot with a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think it was similar to some of the scams we saw with the two-factor codes, where they phished the username and password, and then they sent them a message that said, you got to call us and give us this code because we're going to lock out your account. And I think that's how it happened. It's old school phishing, social engineering.
Could you imagine,
so how much...
Chris and Brian, if you just heard that, hey, one of your kids got their Steam account hacked and it had $2 million worth of skins, you're going to go, where the hell did you get that money from?
Yeah. How did you acquire this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you scamming, stealing, hacking, or there's some people out there that just know the market really well. They time the market. They said this skin is undervalued, I'm going to buy it, and then it appreciates in value. So you could make a living off these things. Who knew?
So I think we need to hold Counter-Strike to a higher level of integrity here. I think they got to do something different to protect these accounts. Well, I'm sorry. Who is it? Is it against? I guess it's against Steam. And they have
Steam.
MFA, right?
Yeah.
Steam
Steam takes
better
security pretty seriously. I guess it's sort of like Twitter. You can have your phone as your second factor. It's not great. It's better than nothing, but something like a time-based one-time password or a YubiKey would be the ultimate way of securing that account.
Dude, I'm telling you, if you got, I don't even know what that threshold is, but let's say you have $100,000 in skins, someone from Steam should pick up the phone and be like, hey, Brian D should come over to your house later. They're going to set up your two-factor YubiKey. You don't like it? We're just going to revoke your account. I don't know what to tell you. Like that, something's got to change. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I smell a lawsuit coming.
Sign into my Steam account real quick.
Change password. I'm going to create my Steam account.
Yeah.
Okay, boomer.
Chris, so how much in skins do you have there for your Counter-Strike? What is your account worth? And how do you even know?
It's $0 exactly, because I stopped playing Counter-Strike when 1.6 came out, and then that was the last version before they switched over to what's called Global Offensive, which is the current one that they're running now. And you could only get skins if you played CSGO, which is the Global Offensive. So I've never played CSGO. I stopped in college, and I never bought or earned a single skin.
Okay, you're off the hook.
I am off the hook, especially if the IRS is listening.
So, but going back to my question, if you did, like, and you log in, is there a dollar amount associated with all your skins, or you just kind of happen to know what they're worth? How do you even sell it?
There's secondary market. They have like eBay for skins, so they have like an auction market, a secondary market. So you have to see what they're worth, the rarity, how many are available, and it's similar to NFTs. They just fluctuate over time depending on demand.
Craigslist. That's how I buy it.
There you go. Cash only.
Cash only, baby.
All right, for our last topic, and it'll be a rotating topic every week. This week, I'm posing the question to my co-host: what's a mistake that you made once that you'll never make again? For me, the obvious ones are from my childhood. So I can think of things like tasting vanilla and almond extract. While they smell really great, they do not taste great. Chewing on aluminum foil and licking a 9-volt battery. I can guarantee you I only did those things once ever. In my adult life, I would have to say drinking alcohol on an empty stomach. And for anyone who's been there, you know exactly why that's the one and only time you will ever do that.
So I'm a shark. I spend half my life looking for food, the other half eating it. So I've never had an empty stomach on alcohol. What happens?
It's not great. So the biology of how it works is, like, if you eat food, especially fatty food. So pro tip out there, if you're planning on drinking, eat fatty food, butter, milk, cheese, things like that. It coats your stomach
every
with
day.
fat.
Okay. So
it coats your stomach with fat, and it greatly reduces the rate at which your body absorbs the alcohol. So that's what you want. So if you're on an empty stomach, there's nothing in your stomach except stomach acid, and it absorbs the alcohol really, really fast. So you can figure out what happens from there.
All I'm hearing is you get drunk faster, so it's cheaper. But I don't see what the downside is here.
It's the control factor. You don't want it to hit you like a ton of bricks. You want it to gradually increase. You don't want it all at once.
I don't know. I'm going to try this out. We'll text you later on tonight.
Yeah, let me know how that goes.
I've got a couple. I've got one for sure that I learned very quickly. I think I was at 5, 6, or 7. Never stick a paperclip in a light socket.
Brian did that, right? And you woke up on the floor.
Yeah, I never did again after that. I guarantee you I never did it again.
It was shocking. You're right.
Yeah. Don't throw a bunch of gas in a barbecue pit and then light it and expect it to be a good situation that comes out of that. Doesn't come out very well. So.
I think it's the common misconception. People think gasoline itself is flammable. It's the vapors that are flammable.
Yeah, I lost a couple pieces of the hair there.
Your eyebrow.
Yeah, eyebrow. Yeah. What's the other thing? Don't lift heavy at an older age and think you can recover. Just know your limits when you're trying to work out. So, especially if you're working out by yourself, it's not a good situation. You'll just embarrass yourself, especially for
spotter.
Yeah. What a couple other things. Oh yeah, and never take the first offer on a negotiation for a new job.
Chapter
it's
1.
It's going to be a chapter in the book.
Chapter 1. There you go.
There you go. Nice plug for our book there, Glenn.
There you go.
So I'm with you, Glenn. I'm kind of with you in lifting. So I think that you should lift heavy. However, I don't think anybody, unless you're a paid athlete, should be doing deadlifts. It's just a terrible exercise. And even with proper form, things can go wrong. And it definitely happened to me. So I herniated 2 discs and dislocated my hip. So not a whole lot of weight and a weight belt and somebody, there with me. So yeah, beware on that. And that was a nice equalizer, right? Because I spent the next month laying on the couch and crawling to go take a because I couldn't stand up. So yeah, I learned that lesson. Yeah.
You know what I want to do actually? One of these times, like if you ever watch Jimmy Kimmel, he has a segment called Unnecessary Censorship where he like puts the beep in where it's not appropriate, but it makes it sound dirty. Like I want to do that to the show one time because when Brian says, I'm going to go take a beep, and then you can fill in, like you can imagine what he's saying there.
You should. I think that would be a great idea. The only other one that deadlifts, definitely not going to do that again. And then just impulse buying in general. I'm kind of weird. Like if it's over $50, like you have to beat this, but my will pucker. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. So I take a moment on all things like that and, sleep on it or give it a week and try to figure out, is this something I really want to spend my money on?
It's a good rule in general, though. Do I really need this? Does this spark joy?
What's that?
It usually doesn't. That's the funny part. Is like you get it, and you're like, ugh, got another iPad thrown to the fire.
Buyer's remorse.
Buyer's remorse.
So quickly. Yeah. I'm with you.
Now, if I could just get my kids to understand this, I think they'll be infinitely rich in no time.
Yeah, they'll get to that age eventually. All right, well, we continue to get great comments about our dad joke of the week.
Dad joke of the week.
This week, I'm up. Yesterday, a truck carrying a load of Vicks Vapor Rub overturned on a busy highway. Surprisingly, there was no congestion for 8 hours.
But
Was that really a surprise, Chris?
All right, to wrap things up, keep an eye out for Prime Day deals and send us your favorite deals. Apple introduces lockdown mode to protect users from state-sponsored attacks. LockBit 3.0 is out with some significant changes. A hacker stole $2 million worth of Counter-Strike weapon skins. And don't drink alcohol on an empty stomach. That's all we have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find us all on LinkedIn. Links will be in the description. Follow us on Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast. Thank you to all our listeners and subscribers who rated us 5 stars in the iTunes Store and Spotify and left us a review. We appreciate you all spreading the word to help grow the show. The best way to find us is to search for the PEBCAK Podcast on your favorite podcast listening app. For my hosts Brian Deach and Glenn Medina, I'm Chris Lloyd. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next weekend. As always, have a nice day.
Thanks, everyone.
Toodles.
Have a nice day.